That's basically how I landed into construction management. Had I known what it entailed then, I wouldn't have chosen it. Look, it's almost criminal to finish a project on time in this country. It's almost criminal. How? How do you nations finish a project on time? We've normalized the normal on those sectors.
Now let's get into the suing. Tunapeleka tu kwa koti.
Yes. Government, at every slightest opportunity that they have, they increase the cost of construction. At every slightest opportunity they get.
Do we have a united construction industry?
By all means, no.
Question. Should I build? Should I buy?
Should I
take
rent?
a mortgage?
And I'm going to say this because nobody says this a lot, but sometimes it's just financially conscious to rent the rest of your lives. Numbers, respect for numbers in real estate must remain sacrosanct.
Hello guys, welcome to episode 3 of the Mjengo podcast with me, your host, Miss Kahiro. And of course, I'm joined by my co-host who will introduce himself in a minute. And today we have a special guest for you, a super project manager and a guru in the world of real estate. Hapa tuko na the boss himself, who will also introduce himself in a minute as well. Co-hosts?
Hi guys, my name is Harry, a civil structural engineer and a co-host of the show. Karibu.
Asante. And our guest today.
Thank you very much for the wonderful words. My name is Nashon Okowa. I'm a project manager. I'm a writer. I'm an arbitrator. And many other things.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for gracing our space today. Let's hapo kwa many other things. We want to hear all those other things. All your titles, your zote.
Wonderful. Well, I do many things. My background is essentially construction management, University of Nairobi. That was what I was trained on. But as well, I've become an author over time. I've written 3 books in real estate. Don't Buy That House, The 7 Rules on Real Estate Investment. I do feasibility and market studies a lot. That's what we do at Beacon as well. We run a lot of what we call comparative market analysis. I'm a great student of our real estate and the global real estate. And I'm a columnist. I write for the Standard newspaper. I write for the People's Daily on construction and real estate matters.
All right.
I'm a former chairman of the Association of Construction Managers of Kenya. I'm a husband. I'm a father.
All right. Thank you. So let's talk to young Nashon. Yeah. Ilifika aje ukaingia in the construction industry? Is it dad who told you this is the industry, or what happened there?
Wow. I was to be a lawyer.
All right.
I think that's what we were tailored to be. My mother really wanted me to do law. At that point, we were deciding after Form 4. My dad had passed. I was with my mother. So the thing was, you were to do law. And the thing is, I'm born and bred in the village. So I wanted to come to Nairobi. I didn't want to go anywhere else. I think that time, it was basically law was offered in Nairobi and Moi. I didn't want to go to Moi for reasons I will not say on camera. I wanted to come to the city. So I was marked on the cut-off points. That time it was 43. So I was told choosing Nairobi was quite risky because you risk losing. There's a lot of competition. And you're right on point. So what do? I go to do revision of courses. And, those days, sneak, just flipping on the pages. And I learned of this thing called construction management. And I said, the name looks attractive.
That was it. That was
the
your
name is
cue.
attractive. So I chose it. And I get called to University of Nairobi to do it. So that's basically how I landed into construction management. Had I known what it entailed then, I wouldn't have chosen it.
Why?
Really?
Yeah, because I hated drawings. It's the reason why, for me in high school, I couldn't do geography. I was just drawing maps, you measuring roads with threads, were just out for me.
Right.
So, and yet when you entered UON first year construction management, you're going to draw for 4 years. So had I known what I was choosing, thank God I didn't know, I will not be a project manager by now.
And how do you transition from that person who didn't like this first year to who Nashon Okowa?
No, I think at some point in life, you need to arrive at junctions where you say, you're past the idea of what you want to do when you grow up. Grown up, you're in a first year. And you have to really make do with what life has put before you. And for me, I just made lemonade from the lemon.
Okay.
Once I realized this is my life, I'm going to do it for 4 years. But my classmates will tell you, when I was in campus, I did bare minimum drawings. I really did what would just make me graduate.
Yeah.
I didn't do those over and over stuff.
Mhm.
So what I concentrated on was the other part, what I knew exactly I will do,
Right.
and that is to be running projects. So yeah, I didn't survive. I've thrived in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But would you say that you are living your dream of becoming a lawyer because you're out here taking people to court, which we will talk about in a minute? Before we get there.
It's manifested in another way.
Yeah, you know, this life is very funny. We'll get there in a minute. So let's begin from the basic parts, yeah? Talk to us about the roles and responsibility of a construction project manager, aka CPM.
Yes.
Yeah, you see, look, in our country, it's still what we call emerging. I heard that word, but let me use it. It's still an emerging compared to architecture, compared to engineering, compared to quantity surveying. These are not very well grounded professions. If you go to South Africa, and I happen to have been at the council there for the last 4 years, these are very well grounded professions. Now, the role of a construction project manager, in the field, we call them project managers.
Yes.
It's just what we talk about, management.
Okay.
So if you look at it, because sometimes we confuse a project manager with a lead consultant. There's a difference. I'm from site as I speak to you, and he's an architect. He's an engineer. So on architectural work, the architect takes what we call the lead consultancy role.
Yes.
If I'm going to manage a road project, the engineer will take what we call the lead consultant role.
Yes.
And then I'll still be there to manage projects. Now, what I'm concerned with as a project manager, they're what we call the 10 components of project management. Okay. So the key ones we call the triple constraints: time, cost, and quality. I want my project to be on time, finished on time. I want a project to be on with quality and cost. But then I'm going to do what we call stakeholder management. And if you do a poor stakeholder management, look at the expressway. The expressway was right on time. A big issue of expressway was stakeholder management. People kept complaining. Traffic tech shops. And then there's risk management, procurement, resource, integration management. So my role is basically to handle the 10 components of management. So I don't do the role of the architect. I don't do the role of quantity surveyor. I don't do the role of the engineer. They remain to do their design and supervision role. But I will be concerned with the client has 100 million. I want to deliver this project at 100 million. The client has 1 year. I want to do project around 1 year. So I'm concerned with the management aspect. But the thing is, you can't manage what you don't understand. Okay. That's why you'll find we are trained on quantity surveying. We're trained on structural engineers' drawings and actual drawings. I can draw. Yes, I can. I'm not an architect. But I can't be able to point a mistake from an architect's drawing if I'm not trained to be an architect. So I must understand what they do. It's like a lawyer must understand how a judge reasons. All right? So I was trained on civil structural drawings, but it is the engineer to do it. But I should be able to interpret those drawings. And to interpret, I must do. So we are concerned with management. It's as simple as that. A project is delivered, so you run a project from start to finish on management aspects. That's all.
So,
if I may take that, at what point do you come in as the construction project manager, and who brings you in? Is it the client who brings you in with the consultants team, or at what point do you come into the project?
Now, I'll give you ideals and I'll give you Vituko ground.
Facts.
Okay? Look, and for me, our company, that's what happens a lot of the times. And it's because we've been known as project managers. The clients come to us first. That's what happens. In all my projects I've done the last 10 years, the client will come to us first. Why as well for us is because not just PM, but we also do market studies and feasibility. But ideally, it needs to come to you first. A project manager should question the client's intention before the architect comes. Okay? If the client goes to the architect first, most probably they start drawing. Okay? Oh, you want 2 beds in Kileleshwa? Give me the deed plan. What's the size? Concept in next to 1 week. The client comes to me first. I'll question why 2 beds. I'll question why not an hotel. Because I want to interrogate why not 1 bed.
Right.
Have you done something behind this two
Mhm.
bad idea that you have? A lot of the times they have no idea. It's just sidebar chama talk they had, and they
Mhm.
come with it. So the ideal thing is the PM needs to come early enough,
Mhm.
and then he begins to bring in the team together
Mhm.
and work with that team to realize that plans.
Okay.
Okay. So that is why you say that projects, I am quoting you, I have done my research. Projects don't succeed or fail during construction. Projects succeed or fail at design stage. So are you throwing the architecture with the designer under the bus? If this project fails, it's because of the architect.
Look, if you look at our industry, if you study it properly, we take almost 80% of projects to construction that should not go to construction.
Right.
Okay.
How is that so?
I mean, you'll find a client says, I need to go to site in the next 1 month, and you're doing a 14-story. If that's my client, I'll tell him, go look for another project manager. I can't take a project in 1 month. A project needs to be curated.
Right.
Project must be conceived properly and thought through. Okay. So you must go those steps of this, a concept, the cost estimate, and you go to the initial drawings, and you go to the scheme outline drawings and all those things. You arrive at details and tender. That will not take me a month for 14-story.
Yeah.
That will take me 3 months.
Yeah.
And what's the hurry for?
And look, most of the times the developer wants to get the initial 10% in. He wants to show that we have broken ground, so you need to put money in. And the consultants are in a hurry to get their 50% of the fees, which is in design stage. But in project management, and that's what I was saying, is project management. If you're going to succeed a project, if you don't conceive it properly in design, you cannot fail. You can't fail a project in construction. A project that fails in construction was failed in design. You plan a project in design, and for me, in my company, I take time in design. That when it goes to site, I can't give an intern to go execute. It's a question of just monitor, control, alter where necessary, and execute. It's straightforward in design, in construction.
Right.
But we have people who wants to design in construction. So I want to go to site with the least number of drawings. Addison, you'll get this.
Yes.
Very high level scheme drawings. And then I'm going to decide what the window is.
Yes.
Right.
I'm going to decide whether it's aluminum, whether it's steel casement. I'll decide what door height we're going to do. And that is why we have variations on projects, because all those decisions, remember, were assumed in costing.
Right.
So for me, I don't take a project inside without detailed drawings. A rule. If the client does not want, go look for someone else.
Okay.
So projects fail in design stage. If you conceive a project proper in design stage, you will not fail in construction. If you don't do it in design stage, definitely it will fail in construction.
Okay. Yeah. And when you say design, do you also mean that the whole shebang of risk management as well? Are we talking about that as well?
Yeah. Look, what I talked about, the 10 components of management, must be thought through in design stage.
Right.
Yeah. Before I take a project to site, I need to think about risk management. Yeah. What are the risks you're going to have in? Is it long rates? Is it short trains? I mean, is it a political year of elections?
Yeah.
What are those things that I need to think through on this project so that I begin to mitigate? We don't do these things. If I'm taking a project, I need to analyze my neighbors. Who are the neighbors?
Right.
Is there a school nearby, a hospital? What are the risks to this project? That exercise, I do it in design stage. And that's why I won't take a project to site in a month. I can't do that in a month.
Right.
So you need to de-risk this client. If a client is going to put $500 million, you must give that $500 million justice by de-risking that client throughout the design stage. So in that process, we'll work with the team, the architects, with the engineers, to begin to, for example, de-risk. Then go to procurement management. How are we going to procure? Are we importing the finishes? Okay. If you're importing, what are the lead times? What are we going to import and where? Okay. So you need to analyze that and be alive to the wild fact. For example, where are you importing? Is it affected by the Houthis of the Yemen and the issues around that area of ships?
Yes.
Because those will affect our project.
Yes.
If you look at PwC Tower,
Yes.
that external finish, the look about, it took forever to arrive. The project was basically, they waited forever for that finish to arrive. So how are we procuring? Okay. Including the contractor, are we single sourcing? Are we think through all the managerial aspects in design stage. Then go through the drawings with the client until you decide in design stage, what is the door hinge? That small door hinge. What are we using?
Yeah.
Okay. Those things need to be thought through and costed for fully in design
before
stage.
breaking ground.
Yeah. But a lot of the times, the project we take to site, we will decide those things on site.
Mhm.
And when you have a client who, because let me tell you something, one of the most difficult person to manage on a project is a client.
Right.
Okay?
Mhm.
And if you can do that management in design stage,
You're
site,
good.
me and Mamenga end holiday.
Mm.
So think through everything that is required, every single thing, then take the project to site.
So are we trying to say that, I mean, in this country, there are many projects that have stalled from the rural areas to in Nairobi. Are we trying to say that lack of proper planning is the major issue in all these, in most of these cases?
I mean, absolutely. Look at the African Construction Trend Report by Deloitte. It stated that 87% of our projects in this country have time overruns. That's almost 100%.
Yes.
It means if you go to start construction in Kenya today, you're almost guaranteed to be delayed. It's once in government projects, public projects.
Yeah.
And then 47%, half have cost overruns. That points to a planning issue. It points to a management issue. And that's why I've always said, where we are as a country, the additional skill we need to add to this construction sector. We are brilliant architects, some of the most brilliant in this continent. Engineers, quantity surveyor, brilliant. What we are lacking is a professionalized management of projects. That's the gap. So the drawing is not the problem. The management of the project is the problem. That's why we have these constant overruns. It's almost criminal to finish a project on time in this country. It's almost criminal. How do you nations finish a project on time? We've normalized our normal on those sectors. So it points to a lack of planning. A lack of planning is a big issue we are dealing with in the construction sector.
Okay. Now let's get into the suing, the tunapeleka to kwa koti.
Yes.
And you're saying it's because there's a gap of management. And I think that's where you people come in, the project managers. The National Building Code.
The National Building Code.
Wow. Mumelia, Twitter, we have heard you. Talk to us about this code.
Look, if you look at what is in that code, honestly speaking, it's something that should not happen. And by all means, it's not about Nashon. This is about a country progressing.
Right.
Yes.
The building code the drafting started when I was the chair of ACMK.
Right.
And NC
when was that?
2019, yeah, back then, 2019. So they requested for our input as usual, they always do. And we really pleaded with them.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that listen, do a building code that history will have no parallels. Something that will progress us for the next 30 years in our country.
Yeah.
And even that time I pointed to Ghana. Ghana had one of the most progressive building codes in this continent. And they were very bold. And we really urge NCA, please be bold. Since 1968, the last code we had, until 2019, 2020, a lot had happened in our built environment that required reflection, that needed to be reflected in the code. Professions that emerged, new practices, new technology. There was the issue of green building that is now a serious matter. So we wanted them to just don't do anything else. Go to practice. If you have a camera, take a photo of what's happening and put it in the code. That's all we asked for.
Right.
And then what have they done? They have chosen to conform. They just chosen to, largely in my view, be stuck to 1968.
Yeah, we are.
They have some glimpses of progressive ideas.
Yeah.
But largely, if you look at that code, if a code cannot reflect a profession that is 23 years existing, then there's a problem.
Yes.
If a code cannot reflect the need for our technicians, technologists, okay, and we have TVETs all over the country.
Right.
That code has a problem. And the role of these people, landscape architects, plays a vital role in our country.
Very true.
Not just our country, but the global built environment. And I always say, the day we named a grass Kidero grass, we should have regulated landscape architects. And that was 2013, of course.
Yeah.
Because we have even a grass named Kidero grass when we are doing this planting grass. It's the role of landscape architects. But you know what's happening these days? Attentively, we advertise they require a landscape architect, and they'll get an architect, then the landscape architects work on as architect. But this is a profession that is 20 years old. These things should not be happening happening in a progressive country.
All right.
So they chose to stick to what I would call mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And for lack of a better word, they chose to get keep because that is a big problem we have in this country. There are certain people that, and there are not many, there are certain people that still have the alacrity for the status quo bias. Things need to remain the way they are.
What are they gaining from
Well,
staying rigid?
it's that short-sightedness that is I don't think it's bespoke to them. It's not bespoke to them. Look at how government operates generally. It's just it's what led us to the streets. It's just a refusal to see things differently and be alive to what is happening. And a lot of these people are have this government mindset that, oh no, we still need to hold this. And even that time they raised the issue of regulation.
Yes.
Look, those professions are all regulated.
Yes.
But what we raised was very simple. Oh, who is supposed to regulate?
Right.
Is it not you, government? Okay, and who is doing the code? It's you, the building code.
Yes.
Okay, then what you do, we not refuse to regulate it. As you do the code, regulate.
Right.
Okay? Yeah, just do it. And you'll be told, oh, and they had 8 years.
Yeah.
Affordable Housing Act was passed in 3 days.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
In Parliament in February, 3 days. So 8 years at 8 years. That's why we told them right now, oh, you have until February. You can do the act in 2 days. So we've gone to court basically to, this is an infringement of our rights. We are also practitioners. I practiced for the last 13 years. The building code is telling me come February, I should not supervise buildings.
Yes.
How
now?
How can you manage without supervision? So it's making us jobless.
Yeah.
We are Kenyans, born and bred. If they don't want to amend it, then we are going to go to court to force them to amend it. So that's why we're in court.
Let me ask, from this building code and everything that has happened in the past few days, what is the message to that young man, that young lady studying construction project management, who's studying to be a landscape architect, who's studying interior design?
Yeah.
What message is the National Construction Authority passing to that young person?
Look, it's not a good message. And I wouldn't even say NCA passing. I would say government passing. Do you know what it means? Because Commission on University Education, which is government,
Yes,
accredits these courses.
yes,
Right.
Okay, so University of Nairobi, they're accredited, do interior design, do construction management.
yes,
Innocent students across the globe, and these are very courses. These are courses that require very high grades, by the way.
True.
Right.
Innocent people across the country are called to do those courses.
yes,
And then what happens? Government gives them help. So government funds them.
yes,
Government accredits, government calls them, government funds them
yes,
through help.
yes.
Government pay lecturers on their behalf
Yeah.
to teach them for 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then when they get out, government says, no, who are you?
We don't know.
Yeah,
you.
like,
There's
we don't
no
know you.
profession like
We
this.
don't recognize you yet.
Yeah.
It is preposterous.
For sure.
Yeah, it's preposterous. But what I know, and I'm certain about, that whatever has happened cannot stay for long.
Yes.
Sure.
If you look at the progress that this built environment has had, and I've said we have some of the most brilliant people in this industry are very progressive.
Yes.
This is a few people. These professions will outlive them. For that student who is doing the course, finish the course. I can tell you it's just a matter of time. It's not an if, it's a when.
Yeah.
These courses are going to be regulated. They will be regulated.
So what's the best case scenario if you win the case? And worst case scenario if they remain rigid?
Look, we just want the courses to be recognized in the court.
Right.
That's what we've said. Number 2, we want them regulated. And we've drafted bills to that effect, which should not be doing. There are bills that we've drafted, they are ready. Regulate, recognize, and regulate. Okay?
Okay.
Our plea to court, it's premised on Article 27, our right to equality, and it should not be discriminated against. We're being discriminated basically. It's not our choice that we did this course.
You know?
Yeah. So we are hopeful that the courts will, and local presidents, the court will agree with us that we need to be in the court.
Okay.
Because there's nothing new we are asking. As I said, we are practicing.
Right.
So just reflect and there's no war out there.
Yes.
There's no world war happening in the built environment for the last 23 years or people fighting for positions. I mean, I've left site. I'm working with some of the most brilliant engineers and architects smoothly. Okay.
Yeah.
So just reflect what I'm doing. Just come to site, pick me as an example, reflect that's what I'm doing. Because I'm not doing engineers' work. I'm not doing the architect's work. I'm not doing surveyor's work. I'm not doing the contractor's work. There's a work I'm doing, and that work the client is paying.
Right.
Reflect that work.
Right.
Now, worst case scenario is they may say no. Although we had a meeting with the PS on Tuesday last week, and I know they have agreed to amend. We are now discussing on how do they amend and regulate. And that's where we are on.
Yeah.
It's the question on what modalities they use, and we are discussing on do we form our own board or are we going under roof, and which roof is that? And what is the name of that roof? Because those are fundamental things for us.
Yes.
If the court don't agree with us at the High Court, we'll go all the way up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the best.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the timber movement permit.
Timber movement permit, yes.
So the fees were moved from, I think, 2,000 to 25,000. What should Kenyans expect in the next few days, weeks, months?
And it's not even legal. 2K to 25. What do you mean?
I've had a big fight with P.S. Singer,
Yes.
who is a good friend of mine, but I've had a big fight with him since 2017. It's not that I said I have an issue with him because of current. No. I have an issue with him, and I'm going to address that in line with the timber. Government, at every slightest opportunity that they have, they increase the cost of construction. At every slightest opportunity they get, they're increasing the cost of construction. Okay? Look at the taxations. Okay? Road maintenance levy, they're saying it won't affect, we will see. Over the last decade, we are just ballooning this cost of construction.
Right.
Yet, we're in what we call a buyer's market today.
Yes.
Our real estate is in what we call a buyer's market. There's a seller's market and there's a buyer's market. We entered buyer's market about 10 years ago. If you look at it. During the boom, the real estate, housing boom, we were in the seller's market. Sellers, basically, in a seller's market, sellers, they basically decide on prices. Yeah, I'm going to do 100 million house, you will buy.
Right.
Okay, because there were few. These days, buyers detect the buying prices.
Yes.
So I go to the market and begin to analyze rental prices and buying prices and the purchasing powers and profile that buyer and begin to adopt my design, my project into that buyer's market.
Right.
So the buyer is if you look at the disposable income of the buyer, economic-wise, it's shrinking. What wana pesa?
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So the buyer's power to purchase is going down, but the cost of construction is going up.
Right.
Yeah.
If you do feasibility like I do all the time, that developer is left in a very awkward situation because he can't go above the market prices, both sale and rent, but he's also being faced with a lot of cost increases. Land is ridiculous in this city, and the cost of construction is going up. Those are the two biggest components in a feasibility. But every slightest opportunity government gets, they just keep piling it. Now come to timber. Timber, and they did that, said 2000 to 25, then they did a clarification or say, no, we're talking about import. But that clarification, they don't understand that we import almost 60% of our timber
Yes.
in this industry. We import Tanzania and DRC.
Yes.
So it still doesn't make sense.
The same thing.
Roof, okay? And a big part of our real estate roof is timber.
Yes.
I know there's light gauge steel, but it's expensive, twice steep almost.
Yes.
Formwork. Okay. Props.
Yes.
Yeah. Which we use.
Yeah.
Just door, timber, doors, our windows, some windows. Frames, window frames, door frames.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even our floors. Ceilings, the branding for ceilings and all that. We use timber a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's going to increase the cost of construction, period. Whether you clarify with 20 memos, that is the bottom line.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's the latest kid on the block on government's affront to increase cost of construction and still doing affordable housing.
And as a construction industry, just a few years back, the price of a bag of cement was 500, 600 shillings. Now in some areas, it's heading to 1,000, 1,100.
Yeah.
Is there anything we can do about this?
Look, last year, Finance Bill 2023, and I'm happy it's been kicked out yesterday, the other day. Honestly, me, because we raised these things.
Yes.
Stakeholders engagement.
Yes.
When you increasing the taxation cost for clinker, okay, with clinker, which is the key manufacturing material for cement.
Yes.
And they were saying, oh no, we have enough clinker in the country. And then at that point, we had a deficit of almost 40% of clinker, which a lot we are importing from Egypt through commerce.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
But they're saying, no, we have a lot of clinker manufacturing. And if you look at that law at that point, it was tailored towards a certain person.
Yes, very true.
Who?
And it became evident. It became evident.
It was tailored towards a certain person. I will not mention names.
Yes, it became evident in the long run.
Addison knows that specific was tailored to a certain person. And we told them, even Kenyan steel manufacturers.
Yes.
We pleaded with them and told them, okay, why don't you give it a moratorium of 6 months before it kicks in January 2024, so that person you want to produce clinker, give it 6 months to start producing. Because we didn't have enough.
Yeah.
They didn't listen. Look at what it has done to cement prices. That's it. So it's a question of selfish interests.
Right.
People don't listen to people on the ground. And it's increasing our cost on construction.
And what is the solution now? How do we kick them out? And if we kick them out, the people who are going to replace them,
I think June 25th, 2024 changed a lot in our country.
Sure.
Okay. And I do not think, and we have a very vibrant judiciary.
Yes.
Okay. And if you look at now that Finance Act, it's been kicked out.
Yes.
So we are progressing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not that we're not giving this feedback. If you are in the industry currently,
yes,
and you hear some of these proposals like last year when they're proposing some of these taxations,
Right.
then you understand that the people that are doing these kind of proposals don't understand the industry.
yeah,
And the ramifications of some of these proposals are dire.
yeah,
Okay?
Yeah.
When a bag of cement is now 1,000, the cost of construction has just ballooned.
yes,
And you've not added steel. At least steel imepunguza kidogo.
yeah,
But even that time, steel was ridiculous.
yes,
So I think as citizens, we just need to be more awake
Okay.
and more enlightened. And I think picking from June 25th,
We're doing a good
I
job.
think we're doing a good job.
Okay.
Yeah.
And before we continue with the lovely discussion that is happening, this episode has been proudly sponsored by Prairie Builders Group, which is one of the top residential construction companies in Kenya. They have all the solutions you need for your Mjengo projects, especially kama unataka kujenga pale ushago. Please, usigongwe wakiwa. Here are the contacts on the screen. Contact them today. Haya, tuendelee na conversation sasa. All right, let's talk about the affordable housing.
yes,
Please, we need to talk about it.
The baby, government's baby.
Yes.
yes. It's been an itchy topic. It's been an itchy topic, and you mention it, and guys come guns blazing on you. And for you, you've talked about it. You've written about it.
I have.
First of all, we can all agree that there's a housing problem in Kenya. Is that the right way to solve it?
No. Look, and I did a research in 2017 when Uhuru started affordable housing. I studied a lot of countries. Yeah. Even Africa, Angola at that time had mirrored what Jubilee was trying to do.
Okay.
Look at Ethiopia. Ethiopia had one of the most ambitious affordable housing, social housing project in any developing country. Look at the Nordics, what the Finland and Sweden and Iceland are doing. I looked at all that. And of course, the most said one, Singapore.
Yes.
When you mentioned government, said Singapore. Look, this is my take.
Yes.
Article 43(1)(b) of our constitution, and I've said it many times, it talks of right to housing,
Right.
not a right to ownership. If the framers of our constitution, in their mind, at times they were drafting the constitution, desire that Kenyans own houses, they will have put it.
For sure.
They will have said right to ownership
Yes.
of a home. It's a right to housing. There's a government fixation with ownership of houses, which is unnecessary. And governments probably in the continent conflate the right to ownership to the right to housing.
Yeah.
Okay? And Article 43, if you look at that, they were looking at the person that article attempted to address. And I agree that government cannot sit back when there's a certain population that requires housing.
Yes.
That population at the bottom of a triangle, okay, mostly cannot buy a house because not a supply issue. It's a demand issue.
Yes.
Because of their pockets.
Yes.
So it's not that there are no houses. If you go next to Kibera, you'll find nice apartments.
Yes.
But they can't move from the slum to come and rent it.
Yeah.
So it is a demand issue, it's not a supply issue.
Yes.
So you'll not cure this with supply. Okay?
Right.
That's number one. Number two, if you look at the debate on affordable housing that we have, the debate on affordability of housing must begin with the cost of construction.
Right. Which they
True.
keep hiking.
Which they keep hiking.
True.
Because government is not in the business of building. Even right now, they don't build. They rely on Horizon to build.
Yes.
That's what's happening.
Right.
Yes.
But Horizon is building within the market parameters.
Yeah.
True.
There's no special cement Horizon is going to buy.
No.
Yes.
He's buying that cement at Bamburi, whatever it is.
1,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or he's still at Tononoka. The same price if I'm doing my house, whatever it is, a project in Tawala, buying the same.
Yes.
So he's affected with the cost of construction, the ballooning one, as I am.
Yes.
If you don't address that, you can't build affordably.
Yeah.
Number three, you cannot achieve affordability within the market and profit models that we have currently of a willing buyer, willing seller.
Yeah.
Right.
Affordability and addressing social need of houses at that bottom line requires a special project.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I've always suggested it. So why don't you sit down with manufacturers? Cement is at what? 800 or 900. How can you bring it at 400? So for this special program.
Yes.
So you begin to remove the profit and market models and begin to have a special program that people can apply to build houses affordably. Okay? Now, will they succeed? Of course they will build houses.
Yeah.
63 billion housing levy in a year you can't fail to build some houses.
Yes.
The problem is affordability.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
I do not think we're going to build affordable houses.
So we're not solving the.
I do not think so.
We are
So
not
the
solving
name-
problem.
the houses that, because as I said, that specific article was designed for the vulnerable.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in fact, the last discussion we had in PS in Twitter space, and I'll mention it.
Yes.
Don't tell me about the middle class getting those houses. The middle class can afford to rent a house of
For
10,000.
Yes.
You know, that's an apartment.
Yeah,
Yes.
They can't afford.
Yeah.
That article was not for the middle class.
Yeah.
It was for.
It was for the
lower
Mutuachini.
class,
Yes.
for
Okay?
sure.
So that person can move out.
Yeah.
Now, you won't address that housing gap
Mhm.
with this profit and market model of Addison, you build, and still you need to make margins.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
And then I buy it from you
Yes.
through housing levy.
And then you say you're so proud that I create jobs.
Yes.
Of which out of 1,000 jobs, 800 ni watu wa mkono.
Yeah.
That is why the current debate, they've shifted it from housing
Yes.
to jobs.
Yes.
And again, with the jobs that don't exist,
Which
Yeah.
you actually, on your podcast, you
Yes.
say the numbers are.
they can't add up.
Then, yeah.
It's impossible to have created 106,000 jobs in
Yeah.
the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Using 63 billion, which part of it they're fixed in bond? Okay?
It's a scheme.
It's,
Yeah.
it's just not possible.
Yeah.
You can't create 140,000 jobs with
Yeah.
63 billion in housing.
Yeah.
When the housing and real estate market, okay, contributes 16% to our GDP, okay? Our GDP is around $110 billion. It's almost 10 trillion.
Yeah.
What is 60%? It's almost 4 trillion uko.
Yes.
And that expands, employs only 600,000 people.
Right.
So that's almost 4 trillion employing 600,000 people. You want to tell me 63 billion can employ that number? Not possible. That's why if you check the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics data, last year, what does it show you? Job increase in the construction sector went up by 2,000. That's a realistic number. That's not my report. It was released in May. It's 2,000. And if you challenge government, okay, give me this data of
160,000.
Up to now, there's no calculation. Because, we're hiring architects. But an architect can do 10 projects at the same time.
For sure. For sure.
True.
A steel fixer.
True.
Yeah.
A steel fixer can fix 3 sites at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get the point. So
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense.
There's
So,
funky business.
affordable housing,
Mm-hmm.
it's a good idea. What we depart personally is how
Right.
to implement it.
Right.
The current models that we have will not allow us to address housing for the vulnerable. I don't think so.
And do you think the government is having such people kwa ground when you mnaelewa what is happening on board when they're, coming up with such projects? That's the gap.
I think that's the
Are they
gap. I
consulting you
think
people.
I think government, when they want to do something, they ask themselves, what is the most difficult way to do this thing? And then they say, okay, that is what you want to do.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the. Okay,
Jen
that's
and
what we
I.
do. Because if you
10
are
of those.
if you are practicing and you're in this industry,
Yeah.
and I've just described for you some of these things, you understand how it's operating.
Mhm,
Let me tell you something. Since 2015,
mhm,
this industry was at 13.9 economic growth.
mhm.
2015. Last year it was at 3%. It has fallen down by 10%.
10.
What?
In the last 9 years. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And every year it was falling,
Mm.
except 2021 after COVID. Hey, it rose up. 10 years. And the first quarters of this year,
Mhm,
KNBS is telling us cement consumption has gone down.
mhm,
Okay?
Right.
And when you hear cement consumption has gone down, you're in problems.
mm.
Are we going to be 2% this year? I don't know. And at the threshold of that, it's cost of construction.
Yeah.
So even by numbers alone,
Mhm.
the industry is declining, but government apparently is having these jobs rising up. Where are these people working? So
Right.
there is a problem with cost of construction. And that's why I've kept mentioning it, that we can build affordably, but we must have some debate around
Right.
the cost that goes to this. Because cement is cement, whether you are building affordable housing or high-end housing.
Yeah.
The problem with the government is I don't think they're ready to listen.
Well.
Okay. With this entire conversation from the building code to affordable housing, very few of us are making noise, us in the construction industry, I mean. Many people have gone quiet when the interior designers, the landscapers, the construction project managers were making noise about the building code. Most architects were quiet.
Yeah.
Do we have a united construction industry?
By all means, no. It's one of those issues that we have.
Yeah.
I tell people we are the only sector that didn't present to BBI. In fact, I'm lucky when it fell through. We are the only sector that were not involved in Boma's draft of the constitution. That's why we devolved funds, but we didn't devolve professionals like architects, engineers. How many architects are in Nairobi County? Here it's only one. I come from Kisumu. I know one architect. I was told Homa Bay, Migori, Kisii has only one registered engineer at Kisii County.
Yes.
Okay?
I've been there. I know.
That's ridiculous.
One. How many billions are going to those counties?
Yeah.
Okay? The built environment is in disarray.
Yeah.
We speak in silos. I've written so much about it. It's not helping on.
Yeah.
I sat in South Africa for 4 years. Let me tell you what's happening there. They are what you call the Built Environment Council. And each association nominates one person to the council. Okay? And it's under an act. The Built Environment Council is under an act. So on national matters, like affordable housing, like housing levy, the council speak on behalf of the industry because it's all representative.
Right.
But right now, we have associations, but they will speak only when it matters to them. Okay?
So true.
And I propose this. The reason why our professional associations cannot speak is because they're entangled with government. They have so mixed up with government in boards and OTC.
Right.
I propose this. The president of IAK, the president of AAK should not sit in any board.
Yes.
Do you know why LSK is vibrant and Faith is talking the way she's talking? She doesn't sit in any board.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And
she has nothing to lose.
And why some of us boldly talk the way we talk, I don't trade with government.
Right.
I've never done a government project. I don't tender government projects. County, national, I don't. Okay? Because if I was doing affordable housing project,
Of course.
I can't. Now, a lot of these people you expect to talk doing affordable housing projects.
Right.
So how will they point the gaps when he's doing the Kibera project? They can't. And that is the president who's supposed to talk, or the chairperson.
Yes.
That is the problem we have. So unless we clearly members decide that, listen, if you're going to be the chairman, you're not going to treat the government in any way.
Yes.
Your voice is going to remain sacrosanct to speak on our behalf. If you can't do that, go work, let's get someone else. The built environment is like that. And it's operating in silos. Okay?
Yeah.
One time I was still the chair of the project managers, yes. So Konza had done a tender that required the tenderer to be a South Korean. It was in our daily, on our dailies. So we had a group of the chairpersons and presidents. Also, no, we made noise. No. How can we do this? Guys, let's do a joint letter. Joint letter of all associations. Do you know one of the key associations refused to sign that letter? He said, no, the CEO is our member. He's our member. So how can we? So if your member does a mistake, you don't talk.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay? And if you look at them, if you look at it, they're also in that board.
So that explains.
It is difficult for some of these people to talk when the chair of the draft building committee was an architect. And I've said it. A lot of our problems are just our own. It's not like some agricultural expert was the one drafting the code.
It's someone within.
It's our people. So built environment is in disarray. Yeah. We are pushing. I'm still in the group for the chairpersons and presidents. I'm hoping that there's that goodwill to have that unity of voice on national matters. I mean, I don't care whether there's that pushing of engineering matters or project management matters at lower level. That's fine. That's their work. But there's certain national matters that we need to speak as a voice. You know, I was wondering why there was no visibility from the building industry and real estate, built environment in the IBC panel. Because, do you know why it's impossible to have one? Whom are they going to choose? There's no one body. It's easy to choose LSKs.
Yes.
It's even easy to choose doctors.
Yes.
Even accountants. ISPAC is there.
Yes.
Because there's only one. Who am I going to choose in construction? ACMK,
you have 10 presidents.
Exactly. You get the point?
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying. We need to have one on national matters.
Yeah.
It's only come on national matters.
Yeah.
And those national debates that we want, that one voice.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's why even now we've been given a CS who is ICT. Nobody's talking.
You're still here.
It's life as usual.
Yeah. You see, if you have one unity of voice, then you can tell the president, listen, the CS of roads and transport, the CS of housing must be from the built environment.
Yes.
Right.
We can't.
Why?
Because we don't have unity of voice. We are all over. All of us are all over. And we also have these internal fights.
Yeah.
Yeah? We have internal fights. The children are fighting with the children are fighting with the mother, and the mother is fighting with the children. It's a family in chaos.
Right.
It's a family in chaos.
But as you say, June 25th has set a pace.
It has. If you look at what is happening with EBK,
yes,
and what engineers are doing, I've seen a letter that engineers are forming a union now.
Yes.
Okay, that's June 25th.
All right.
And the push to just have the consciousness of these bodies resonate with the consciousness of members, I think it's on higher level.
Engineer, are you taking part in that?
Yes.
Oh, very nice.
Very
nice.
Gen Z.
Okay, as we talk about affordable housing and all that, let's enter the real estate. Okay, before to get real estate.
Yes.
Question. Should I build? Should I
buy?
Should I take a mortgage? Should I? Talk to us.
Okay. Look, I think, and I'm going to say this because nobody says this a lot, but sometimes it's just financially conscious to rent the rest of your lives. There's this fixation with you need to own a house in this country.
Yes.
And I mentioned it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Okay? And when people are buying houses to own, they always forget now to reason out that house. It's so emotional.
Right,
okay?
Right.
It's so emotional. You're buying a house of 20 million or 15 million. If you were to rent that house, you'll take 40 years even to recoup that money.
Yeah.
What if you took that 20 million somewhere else and just continue to renting at 50,000 and just live your life? Okay? So that's something we need to tell Kenyans. It's not a must you own a home.
Yes.
If you can afford and it makes sense, do it. But there's this constant urge and push to just, I must own a home. Yeah?
Is it the same thing with land?
I mean, that's African. That's an African problem. But if you look at it, let me give you some statistics.
Okay.
The countries in Europe with the highest home ownership are the poorest.
Really?
Yeah, Romania, Albania. Look at those countries. Okay? The countries that are one of the most richest, like Switzerland, has only 32% of home ownership. I've studied that a lot. And when we tell government sometimes this just pushing people to own houses, it doesn't show that you are rich. Yeah, a lot of people in like Switzerland, which is one of the top country in the world in terms of resources, just 32%. We are at 16. We are just half Switzerland. Look at where they are. So it doesn't show anything that you're going to, if you own a house, you have achieved.
Yes.
It's just sometimes consciously reasonable to just rent the rest of your life.
Yes.
It is okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's come to issue of ownership.
Right.
Do you buy or do you build?
Yes.
And mortgage?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, mortgage is a problem there.
Okay.
I think about 2% of us are in mortgage.
Mhm.
Part of it is cultural. Where I come from, loans are considered a taboo.
Taboo.
Yes.
So we need to break some of those glasses.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't think we'll break those glasses by following rules. Nobody break glass ceilings by following rules. You have to go outside. But a lot of that mortgage issue is cultural. And of course, our interest rates. Okay.
Quite high.
Yeah.
It's quite high. And when you get mortgage, they will not, they want that rate to keep changing to reflect economic times.
Ah,
And we're in a country that is third world, affected by a lot of issues.
yes.
Okay. So you're giving me the 18, 2 years to come, it may be 25%. All right.
Yeah.
And who knows, it could be 30.
Yeah.
And
'Cause
I'm
if you
here,
project it-
and I'm here for 20 years.
Yes.
Get the point?
Yeah.
So there's not that stability like you have in the US of the interest rate has been 2% or 4% for what, 30 years?
Yeah.
So that scares people. That
Yes,
scares
yes,
people. There's
yes,
just thought of this interest rate is moving.
Changing. Yeah.
Okay. I think government is trying to address that. It's one of the most good things I think they have with the Kenya mortgage refinancing,
Right.
KMRC.
Yes.
I think they have given interest rates that are quite low. I think 9-10%.
Okay.
That could address that issue. How far it will go with these austerity measures, I don't know. But mortgages just have that challenge. Number two, I think the issue that their mortgage is only for finished projects.
Ah, okay.
The project has to complete. It's also a challenge for most people. A lot of first-time homeowners globally, I'm saying globally, have owned houses easily through off-plan.
Yes. Which
Because-
we're about to talk
Yeah,
about.
because you pay it slowly.
Yes.
So that's another issue of mortgage. But do you build or do you buy? Look, the issues we have had with buying houses is driving people to think building is a better idea than buying. Building will present you with sweat, tears, and blood. Absolutely.
You would know.
And for a country, for people, Kenyans who love shortcuts, you will cry.
Yes.
Absolutely. If you think building is better than buying. Look, I do not think there is a cutout advantage between the two. For me, in construction sector, I would build. Okay. I understand the rules. I understand what needs to be done. I know what's a good concrete. So I will build. If you don't have time, yeah, if you are the busy type, let me put quotes, the lazy type, yeah, the withdrawn type, please
Just buy.
don't attempt to build. Those fundis will show you dust. Okay, you will build that house twice the cost.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but if you can get professionals and pay for them, if you can hire Nashon and pay Nashon and I get you proper consultant registered under the law, by all means build, because building is cheaper than buying. That's the truth. It's cheaper than buying. But Kenyans love shortcuts. I know someone cheaper is key in this industry.
Yeah.
So
My brother got someone who so someone is telling someone that, my brother got someone and that fundi built with 1.5.
yes.
Yeah, so if you just get 1.5.
You're good.
So the parameters to decide for you whether you need to build or buy, I think budget.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you will not build with 10 million in Riverside. Yeah.
Yes.
That one you are, that's an advanced fantasy.
Yeah.
Okay. How much do you have? Okay. Where do you want to live? Because when you tick those boxes, you begin to decide, really, I need to buy. If you have 10 million, 13 million, you want to live in Kilimani, of course, you're not building.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those factors, time, again, is important for you. Do you have the time? Building requires you from day one to the end to be present in that development. So those three factors will decide for you: budget, location, and time are important for you to make that decision to build or to buy. But if you can hire professionals, by all means, build.
Okay, let me take you back a bit on the issue of cost. We have to agree that the cost of finishes in this country is crazy. Is there a way to regulate that?
Look, And that's why some of us charge higher fees.
Mhm.
Yeah, when someone says, no, you are expensive, yes, because I give you value. If you get a consultants that can reason out to you on value engineering, okay, which we do a lot with our clients. Once I understand the market, for example, and I begin to know this kind of buyer or this kind of renter does not care whether I do ceramic or porcelain tile.
Right.
Okay? If you don't have someone to do value engineering, you do porcelain tile, which is at 3,500, 4,000 per square meter. I'll do ceramic of 900 shillings per square meter. We'll rent the same rent.
Right.
Okay? So value engineering comes these days, if us now, even in a building your own house, you need a good person to really take you through the value. Like, what is key here? And what are the alternatives? What is it that you can take out here? And this house remains a house.
Right.
And you still live in comfortably. So that is called value engineering. Look at item value by value. A lot of consultants don't have that time. And also because the money they're paid do not allow them to have that time.
Right.
But for example, for me, I will charge more. But one of the things I keenly look at is what can you take away? And for a real estate market that is so competitive, and my issue, my philosophy with real estate is I don't compete. On all my projects with clients, I don't compete. I create projects. Okay? So what can I give additionally? Okay? And what can I remain with even lower, but we're going to rent at the same price with the neighbor? So value engineering is important in terms of reducing costs now. If you go gang-ho with, I know an architect, I know someone at work who charge me half the price, sour. But you're going to spend twice amount than if you had me, who's more experienced. Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's go back to what you had briefly mentioned about the purchasing property off plan. Kindly to our people watching, and they don't know exactly what that means, kindly explain that, and then we dive in.
Okay. I've written a book on off plan called Don't Buy That House.
Yeah.
In Don't Buy That House, I talk about the 7 critical areas that any buyer must, underline bold capital, must go through before you buy a house off plan.
Right.
Now, we don't have a regulation on developers in this country. I think that's where we're coming from. I've talked about it. I've proposed it many times. There was an attempt before Udo left to bring a bill. It fell through. We don't have a regulation on developers. In this town, Arizona can wake up today and put a billboard and say, guys, bring your money off plan. I have a house somewhere. Yeah? There's no regulation. Anyone can be a developer in this country.
Yeah.
That is why a lot of people have tried. So if you don't do your due diligence, you're going to be in problems. Now, off-plan is the best model to buy a house for first-time homeowners. Okay? It's the easiest. Any country, and no country has done away with off-plan. Why? It's cheaper. You buy it, a project that is 2 years or 1 year now. In 2 years' time, it will not be more expensive. Okay?
Yeah.
You pay in installments. Okay? And I always advise, don't pay on monthly. Pay on milestones.
Okay.
Those are some of the recommendations I always give. Do not pay on, I'm paying monthly. Monthly installments has been the pain of suffering from buyers in this country. Monthly installments in a sale agreement has no remedy. If you fail to pay that month, you're in default, even if there's no progress. Monthly payment is not tied to progress on site.
Right.
It's tied to the months of the year.
Okay.
So just pay it on milestones. If you figure first floor, and lipa. If you doubt,
So how should they inform you?
No. Developers will tell you you don't pay monthly. By all means. I represent buyers in a lot of these discussions. And I always insist, no, we want to pay on milestones. It's 12 months. Let's agree on 10 milestones.
Yes.
It just bulletproofs you that if the developer stops, are paid only that segment is done.
Yes.
Okay, and you see, it's a physical, it's an eye thing.
Yeah.
My grandmother can tell that we're on fast floor.
Yes.
So there is no doubt on that.
For sure.
And if it doesn't proceed to the next milestones, you don't pay.
Yeah.
It's also a reason why there's no developer who has been jailed in this country. Because
had many cases.
Because of monthly payments. If month, you're in default, you're in breach of that sale agreement.
Yes.
Right.
Even if there's no progress, it's not tied to progress.
Yeah.
So when you go to court, oh no, he's not moving, that's why I didn't pay. In fact, let me tell you what they do. He'll not be working, and you default, he'll write to you immediately, breach of contract.
And you pay him for that.
And he is not working. So those are things you need to change. In off-plan, if you do some of those things, you're good. So what should you take? I won't go deep into it. This is a big debate.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'll just mention a few of them. First thing you need to check is the history of developer.
Yes.
Okay, when you're buying a house off-plan, are you dealing with a novice, first-timer? Has it done past projects before? Where are they? Okay. Who owns this company? We are in real estate companies here who are on their sixth name. Okay. I won't mention them line, but they're on name number 6. They keep
That's
conning.
a red flag. Yeah.
They keep conning and
Red
changing.
flag.
Yeah, those things you know. Like who are the directors?
For sure.
Okay. Who owns this company? Which projects have they done before? Can I see them? Can you drive to where they've done? Yeah, so history. Look at the history. Okay. Seattle office, I need the fund document. Who owns the company?
Yeah.
Get them. All right. Now look at the projects team. Okay, that will give you a hint. A lot of the quack developers do not use proper professionals.
Right.
You see, if you go and find a project that Nashon is in, and you get comfort.
Yes.
Because first of all, Nashon has done his own due diligence on this developer.
Yes.
So there are certain consultants on projects will give you comfort because they also do their due diligence on projects. They just don't do projects.
Yeah.
Right.
So who is the architect? Who's the engineer? Who is involved in this project? Who is the project manager? Look at those. Number 3 is approvals. Okay?
Yes.
Get every approval. Do they have county approvals? Do they have NEMA? NCA? Is it next to an airport? Is there Kenya Civil Aviation approval? Like, get all the approvals.
Right.
Okay? Interrogate that. Before you buy them, you've not paid a penny. Okay? Service charge. When you're buying a house or plan, a lot of buyers don't think about it. I know people who bought houses, moved in, and the service charge was equal to the rent they were paying before. You know what they did? They rented the house now again.
What?
The one they bought, they rented.
Wow.
They just didn't think to.
And there's nothing you can do.
I mean,
you've already agreed.
Contract.
No. Is it the good thing? We'll have good things. Someone say, I'm in a development. We have heated pool. No. High-speed lift. You'll pay for them in service charge. So look at those things keenly, interrogate them,
right? Then
decide whether you're going to buy a house.
Right.
But off-plan is a good model for first-time owners. And I've done projects off-plan the rest of my life. Since I started practice. It is working.
Okay. Yeah. And is this tied to the Airbnb business as well?
Airbnb, Kenyans, like it's like quail eggs and M-Pesa and matatu. When someone
and flat roof houses.
When someone says we start blah blah blah. Look, sometimes it doesn't make sense. People are renting Airbnb at higher prices, renting an apartment and putting an Airbnb.
Right.
Some of those things requires us to go back to school. It just seems I was not taught properly. They don't make sense for me. And it's a question of just a trend. Arizona is doing it, so let me go and rent Airbnb and also put, have you done your market? Have you done your market feasibility analysis? Numbers, respect for numbers in real estate must remain sacrosanct. If you listen to numbers, get Nashon to just analyze for you. You're going to rent, what is the maintenance cost? What is the running cost? What is the market?
Right.
Then go with it with that knowledge.
Okay. What is your word to students, that is the ones we talked about, CPMs, interior designers, landscape architects, and generally our colleagues in the construction industry? What would be your final word to them?
Look, it's sort of what I will tell my younger self. Okay. I'm not that I'm old, but I think the market requires a different kind of person.
Okay.
Yeah. There's just stiff competition to be the same for most students.
Right.
And if you look at that stiff competition to be the same, it puts them in crowds. But if you look at, it's also the reason why I wrote the book called Abnormal Students. If you look at the market today, if you look at what it requires, what the employer, and I'm an employer, what it requires from that student, it's just a different mentality.
Right.
And a lot of that mentality, if you look at most students, they're just in a pool. So there is that need to differentiate yourself and be above the crowd, to begin to lead the herd. Okay? So you need to do more. A lot of students don't want to do more. They want to get stuck with that bare minimum in class. That minimum teaching in class, if you're 100 students, it puts you in the same pool. But You need to do more. Understand the industry. That is one of the things I tell students all the time. Understand where you're going.
Okay.
Who is the CS of your industry?
Yeah.
Who's the PS? Yeah. In my mentorship, one of the painful things I asked them to do early on is they must go through all the acts and regulations in the construction sector. And they're about 66. Understand what governs NEMA, every single thing.
Right.
So be exposed, be current, know where be a student of the industry, be a student of the local industry, be a student of the global industry, know where the industry is going globally and locally. That puts you above the herd.
Right.
If you can't be above the herd, wow, you're with the sharks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you
how
so
about
much.
to our colleagues, our sales structural engineers, architects, the rest of the professionals? What would be your word to them?
The ones practicing?
Yes, the ones practicing.
Look, I know we have the fear, which is rightfully so. We have a fear of new professionals. But honestly, as I said, if you study the industry globally, we are going to have more professionals coming very soon. I think for us to progress this country and progress the industry, we just need to adapt with the time, technology-wise, professional-wise, and move the industry forward. That is what I will always tell my colleagues. And then, I know it sounds like a cliche, but integrity is a problem in this industry. There is a stiff competition in this industry to be unprofessional. It's very stiff to be unprofessional. Let's start integrity. Okay, and I know it's in deficit, but in our industry it's very important. We will address building collapses. We will address these issues of people being caught in real estate as a people in the built environment.
Right. Okay, Harry, that was a good talk, yeah?
It was.
Please, sir, thank you so much for again gracing our space. As
Thank
we
you.
conclude, please look at your camera and be aware to where they can get your 3 books from, and also where they can contact you for business.
Thank you very much. My books are available on Nuria Bookstore and Kibanga. Those are outside the country. It's on Amazon, so you can purchase it on Amazon. Don't Buy That House, The 7 Rules on Real Estate, which talks about a lot of things I've talked about here. There are no more students. I'm a public figure. I am on all social spaces except TikTok.
Why is that so?
It's a discussion for another day, but I think I'm headed there. You can find me in all social spaces. Just type my name, you'll find me there. My contact is always all over as well, and my email. Yeah, reach out to me if you need me. We can talk.
All right.
Thank you.
I think that marks the end of our beautiful show today. I hope you may learn a lot, because me, I have learned, Harry.
Yeah.
Thank you also, my co-host. We shall see you in the next episode. Bye.